Day one here at Gen Con 2019 continues, and I have the pleasure to actually talk to Sam Webb from Modiphius Entertainment. Chris Birch said, oh, this guy? No, I'm not talking to this guy. Sam, come here, come here.
He's too exclusive now.
Yes, exactly, right.
He's too exclusive now.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about RPGs, because that is what a lot of people know Modiphius for.
Yeah, that's where we started.
Of course, there is the Fallout miniatures, which are fantastic. I reviewed that. We had a blast with that.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite RPGs out there right now are from Modiphius. So Star Trek Adventures, Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed of.
You came up with that subtitle, right?
I was like, who came up with that? It's a mouthful. And then, of course, we also have John Carter, which came out. Beautiful collector's slipcase with that as well.
Beautiful.
Really nice.
I was really impressed with that when it came through.
So what should we talk about?
I don't know.
What's new?
John Carter's fairly new this year, so we fulfilled the first wave of the Kickstarter back in around April, May, I believe, and then that came to retail pretty soon.
Yeah.
So we got a slipcase out, which contains both the core rulebook, which you can get separately, and the campaign guide called Phantoms of Mars, which gives you a full campaign to play through with your home group. There's like kind of 4 full chapters of adventure to play through, and gives you everything you need to actually run the adventure. So you've got something pre-written, because a lot of GMs nowadays, I find, particularly myself as well, like they just don't have the time to prep like they used to. Like, we're all getting older, we all have stuff to do, even if I work at a gaming company.
You want to step a little over this way here.
Yeah, sure.
All of a sudden people are going to be like watching the video going, where's that voice coming from? So yes, people don't have the same kind of prep time as they once did.
Right.
Game mastering. People don't have the same amount of time to play role-playing games like
really.
they did.
Yeah, I know.
People freak out when I run something and it's like an 8-hour session. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe we played this for 8 hours. And I'm like, are you complaining? They're like,
8-hour sessions?
Every couple of weeks.
What?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I run a regular streamed game of what we got After the Fire, which is the Game of Thrones game that I love from Green Running, and we run that 4 hours a week. And I think, and I play in another game on a stream on Sunday, and that is almost my limit. Yeah. I've been doing a Kickstarter as well off my own back, so I've been burning the candle at both ends a bit. Okay. So I don't have any time at the moment, really.
Sure.
But yeah, we've been bringing out more and more adventure material, particularly for Star Trek Adventures. We brought out These Are the Voyages a couple of years ago with the core book, and then this year we got coming up Strange New Worlds, which is the second mission compendium, which has one of my missions in it, and has a load more material for everything from Enterprise through the original series and Next Gen. So it's got some great stuff coming through that. But yeah, adventure material is just becoming more and more important, and we hear a kind of cry out for it from the community. So I'm really glad that we can fulfill it now with all different lines.
And Star Trek is just a system that just continues to give and give and give.
Oh, thanks.
It does. I mean, because
I don't know what to say to that.
Well, I mean, people have so many options. They can play original series. They can play Next Generation. If they want to go, oh, well, I'm a big fan of Deep Space Nine.
That was one of the more surprising questions, right? So people were pick up the book, and I think because it was styled in the Next Gen LCARS kind of way, the people were like, oh, but what, can I play original series like this? And I was like, yeah, of course you can. It's just a rule set, and that is just a time period. All you need to do maybe is kind of adjust the tech that's around, but that's all down to your discretion, And you look at Discovery now as well, and it's well, suddenly we've got holograms and stuff, or all that
where did that tech come from?
Yeah, right.
What's going on with that?
Well, let's explain that away. The Enterprise, we just want to use the view screen. We don't like that.
We're just hand waving that off.
Yeah, but they're all just time periods, so you can completely. Even from the core book, we included stuff for Enterprise. So it's like the phase pistols and stuff,
Yeah.
So you can run any time really, and that. So I was surprised with the community asking, and I think it's a lot of the kind of older community have been with the Star Trek particularly, and been with the various iterations of that role-playing game for a while now. And I think in the past, they've very much been about properties. So it's been well, this is your original series book, this is your next gen book. But we wanted to cover everything, because I think that giving the people a toolkit like that gives them more liberty to play what they want to play, And we focus a lot more on the kind of science stuff of that as well. So some of the extended task rules where you're kind of resolving a bigger problem rather than just rolling the dice once and kind of resolving a little test or something.
Right.
So we wanted to build some core mechanics in there that weren't just shooting Klingons and flying through space, right?
Exactly. So let's move on to some other games. You have a brand new system. It's a smaller book.
Yeah.
I want to say, is it called Luminously?
Liminal.
That's
Liminal.
It. Liminal.
Yeah. So it's one of our third-party publishers. So they're a partner that we work with to help them get into distribution, to retail, that kind of stuff. So we've been helping them fulfill, and we've been helping them getting into distribution. That's up for an Ennie, or a couple of Ennies, actually. I think best game, best writing. Well, I don't know when this is going out or anything, but
It'll be next week.
I think it's going to do well. Like, that's my tip for the Ennies.
How big was the check you wrote?
I'm under no obligation to say any of this. I think I've just got a feeling in my bones that it's going to do really well.
That's very cool.
It's like a cool, like, kind
Well,
of,
isn't it better than going, we're not winning? I wouldn't buy that.
no, I'd buy it.
I'm lucky I even had anything to do with that. I was like, whatever. Just print it and let's go, move on.
Yeah. No, we'll never be a box pushing company.
You've never come across that way to me.
Right? So any of our partners, any of our games, we're always committed to the development of that. And you can see that through the various iterations of 2D20.
Uh-huh.
So Star Trek very much feels like Star Trek. Right. Infinity will feel like Infinity. And Conan will have that kind of, not crunchy. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, really kind of grungy, like, kind of proper hack and slash kind of...
Sword and sorcery.
Yeah.
High fantasy.
Exactly, right? And it'll feel gritty as well. That's what I was looking for. Like, so it'll all have those vibes, and that will seep through in the mechanics. So, like, we're developing the Dune role-playing game.
That's what I was going to ask about.
So, good segue.
Yes.
And so we're looking at quite a unique version of the 2D20 system.
That was a question I had, because John Carter kind of streamlined the D20 a bit.
Well, we wanted pulpy.
Yeah.
So we went for that. And through the playtesting of that with the backers and everything like that, we were able to get on something that really hit the nail on the head. So you add a couple of stats together and boom, there you go. And you just, it's much easier to buy dice. It's much easier to work around the momentum and threat mechanic. And that's what we wanted. We wanted fast play and you to, be leaping around buildings and just kind of slashing away at minions and kind of doing that kind of stuff that you get from the books, because that's the books.
So with the Dune role-playing game, is it going to be more crunch, say, like Conan? Or will it be a little...
No, I wouldn't call it crunch. We're working on the beta at the moment, and fingers crossed, obviously, approvals pending, because we're working with the Herbert Estate, and we're working with Legendary Entertainment as well, who are producing the movie. So we've got a lot of kind of approvals to get through, right? But working on it at the moment, and Nathan Dowdle, who's our 2D20 rules developer, we've seen some really promising stuff coming out of that, and some really cool ideas. So there's going to be, depending on what level you want to kind of play in terms of crunch, I guess, there's various things about kind of like the house management to do with that, but also specifically, and again, this is where kind of the IP bleeds in, you've got stuff about kind of duels and positioning and like getting past your shield and actually getting to strike you and stuff. So there's a little bit of high concept stuff in there about kind of using kind of zones and using assets a lot of the time, but it kind of has a universality to the system where if you're engaging in espionage and your asset is a spy, you're using it the same way mechanically as, say, I have a knife and I'm dueling you, right? So there should be some kind of cross-pollination there between the subsystems that mean that it's actually less crunched, because you have to get your head around kind of one thing, and then you just
one key concept and then everything.
Right, one key task resolution system that you then just build little bits into, So I'm really looking forward to that, because I think there's some really cool ideas there.
Sure, and I know a lot of people are really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because it'll be the first time that I've ever been aware of that a company of the size of like Modiphius is tackling Dune. I believe there was a role-playing game way back in the day from from a smaller company.
And we've talked to them a bit. I think it was last Unicorn game.
Yeah,
maybe, don't quote me on that. I don't know. But no, because that was Matt Colville was involved with that and the team there. So we spoke to Matt a bit about how he found the process and kind of what they were doing with it and stuff. Right. I'm not going to quite announce yet. We'll I'm building the team at the moment, and we're working with a couple of quite kind of named, fairly high-profile people in the tabletop community that will lend their voice to the game and hopefully kind of bring some really cool ideas to it as well. So some real die-hard fans working on the game. Right. That's kind of where we start a lot of the time, is kind of looking around the industry, and quite often to some kind of like new writers or new developers, but they come to us and they're like, I am a die-hard fan of this IP and I know it inside and out, and I really want to work on it, because you can't necessarily find that passion any other way. You can be professionally passionate about something, but having someone who is like literally like a die-hard, like I loved Star Trek, so when I got on board and was able to help out with that and gradually take over the project management of that, I was like, this is beautiful. So it's my little baby. So 2 years ago when we launched it, I was just like, this is amazing, and seeing people just like pick it up and play it. And last year it was great because I saw a couple just walk around and it was like, oh, this is the Star Trek game I've been looking at and talking about, and just to kind of be on a fly on the wall and just kind of see that was just really nice. Right, exactly, right.
Would you like my autographs?
I'm signing books now.
Yeah,
I'm nobody. I don't know.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then talking about like die-hard fandom, I absolutely love Fallout, and I'm going to develop the Fallout 2D20 role-playing game, which is coming up next year.
It's another one that people are excited for.
Really excited. So what I want to do again, we talked about kind of simplicity and stuff, is I want to bring that back a little bit to kind of a bit more simpler mechanics and a bit more simply task resolution for the 2D20 system, because I found that like I used to run a LARP that was heavily kind of Fallout post-APOC inspired back in the UK, and we found that a lot of Fallout fans who had never live role-played before would come to us as their first experience of any role-playing, tabletop or LARP, and ours would be their first experience. So we thought, actually, we need to make sure this is accessible for people. So that's my kind of like number one thing with this iteration of 2D20, is that comprehensively it's easier to understand, and also that the mechanics are easy to resolve as well. Sure. So that's my big thing on it.
Sweet. Speaking of passionate fandom, Vampire the Masquerade is now effectively being handled by Modiphius, correct?
It is, yeah.
So what's cooking on the horizon for that?
We have a couple of products, three actually, that we've talked about so far, and we're working with various other partners as well, including Onyx Path on some of their books too, to help them out. So at the moment we're developing a player's guide, which is going to provide a lot more tools and information, fluff information as well on all the clans and stuff, as well as some kind of play advice. Some safety tools as well have been going to be explored and added, and then so that's hopefully going to come out with some of the other products in Q1 of next year. That's been
a little bird told me that there's a starter set maybe on the horizon.
Yeah. So like we did for Star Trek Adventures, and also like your kind of D&D starter sets, your Pathfinder starter sets, we're going to produce one for Vampire. So if you're either new, we're pitching this to either if you're new to the 5th edition version of the game, or if you are new to role playing and just love like bloodsucking vampires, then that's the product for you, because what it'll do is what we've aimed to do with Star Trek Adventures as well, is kind of like teach you as you play. So you don't need necessarily to have read through the booklets, like back and forth, and kind of know the rules. You might find a bit of comfort in like having read through and getting an understanding of that first and foremost, but you can open the adventure or the chronicle on page 1 and it guides you through the process. So like, here's how to do a dice roll, here's how to resolve like hunger and rouse checks and stuff, here's how to do this, but as you're playing. So you open up, and I was like reading over this because I'm not the key developer on it. Matt Timms is one of my assistant line managers, and he's been developing it in-house with a couple of our dev team, and I was reading over it the other day, and it's great because you kind of you open up in this location, and then you've got a bit of a kind of like, this is a bit of a test for us in a way. So you open up with like these other people that you don't really know, but there's a kind of a loose kind of coterie kind of thing, and so it introduces you to the mechanics kind of piecemeal and just gives you what you need to know
as you play. Learn as you play.
Yeah, which is a great way to do it as well. Again, because like we say,
there are a few starter sets that are kind of like that.
Yeah, right. And people don't have the time to read a 500-page rulebook anymore. So that's a good place to start. And then if you really love it, pick up the core book, pick up the supplement books as well, for some like other key character creation stuff, and stuff like that. Because obviously it'll come with pre-gens and the dice and that kind of stuff too.
Sam, any other products that are on the horizon, or something that you think deserves a little more love that you'd like to share with the audience?
I would love to, but I can't talk about it.
I know. I'm used to this.
We got stuff cooking.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. We got stuff cooking.
That's it. They're done making games. What's out there now is what you got.
We got enough.
Sam, thank you very much for spending some time here at Gen Con. It is super busy. It is crazy, and it's only day one.
I'm already tired as all heck.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah. Tell me about it. All right.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
If you're ready for some more fun and you'd like to check out the latest episode of The Daily Dope, my live Monday through Friday show that airs at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube, click right here. And if you'd like to roll the dice and push your luck and see a randomly selected video from the channel, click right here. You pays your money, you takes your chances. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and thank you for watching.